We actually went out on a kind of a search for a church family, just trying to figure out where we fit. And we had visited several different churches within town, and some had good aspects, some had really great aspects, some didn't have what we were quite looking for. And Jonna and I actually just kind of came together and said we're going to try out Christ Church. And so the moment that we walked in, it was very welcoming. Everybody immediately came up to us and introduced themselves, wanted to know who we were, what our story was. The choir was amazing. We kind of came into the whole environment just with a breath of fresh air. We pledge because we want to give back to the community, and giving to a church is going to expand that reach further than what Jonna and I can do by ourselves. Whenever they handed out the pledge cards, there was just a big calling to me that say, this is something that we need to do. We need to make that commitment.
What I can say is I just absolutely love this church. From the day that I walked in, everybody was so welcoming, so loving, and I knew that this was the right place for me. We're not so much giving money to the church. It's giving money to God for God's mission. That's what the church is for. The church is to do God's mission in the world. And so when I give to the church, I do that in order to help with the mission of God in the world, feeding the hungry, clothing the homeless, all of these wonderful things that the church does. And it takes money. I mean, we'll just be perfectly honest about that. All the good intentions in the world are wonderful, but it does take money to do. And the more money that we can have, the more good we can do in the world.
Christ Church is a church that has become welcoming to all, and no matter what areas or what's going on in the world, we have learned to come around and how we can help everyone, help others, and how we can help ourselves to help those who need us. And we have a wonderful group of people who are capable and willing to do this. When you come to our church, we want you to feel welcome, we want you to feel at home, and we want you to feel joyful.
My name is Mike Brothers, and I and my family have come to Christ Church now for about 5 years. What it means to me to be here and worship is really being part of a bigger community. The community of Christ, the body of Christ, but also Christ Church here. We've made a lot of really good connections. We feel at home when we're here on Sundays, and that was really where we wanted to be. It was something that we wanted to do when we decided to reconnect with the spiritual part of our lives as a family. I really love our mission to know Christ, to make Christ known. I feel like we live that out here. There are a lot of opportunities to be out in the community. This church has been a part of this community for a long time, and we have always had an effect on our community, our immediate community, and the larger Springfield community. I pledge to support because we have a mission here. We have a mission from God, from Christ, and and amongst ourselves. We have a common goal, but those things don't just happen. So we have to ensure that there are ways to make that happen. And so you can volunteer, you can lend your talents, you can lend your time, you can also contribute. And so I try to do all of those things. We try to do all of those things in some ways. And so it's just really important to me to be a part of that and to know that we're all leaning into that together.
My name is Larry Paulette. I've been a member of Christ Church for around 12 years. The years kind of slip by, so I'm not exactly sure, 12, 14 years.
And I'm Emily B. Joni Paulette. I'm married to Larry, and I have been a member of Christ Church since I was 6, I believe. I think that our church is really focused on providing that love, whether it's for members or for people who aren't members, who are just passing through or who just live in the community. And maybe we aren't as dogmatic on our theology and as other places in town, but for us that's not the most important thing. It's important, but that's nothing if you're not reaching out to people who need you. If you're not providing that love, you can bring them into the church and into the fold and instruct them in theology later, but you're never going to get a chance to do that if you stop them at the door with the opposite of love and tell them they don't belong, or you just simply don't invite them in. And I think that's important that that we provide that for people.
That's the type of church that I want to raise my daughters in.
No, everyone here, as an outsider, who's someone who's not an Episcopalian, who's not particularly religious, have welcomed me as their own, have been so kind, and I feel like this is my family, like I'm right at home here. And I think if people gave it a chance, they'd feel the same way too.
People equate stewardship with, we want your money. And that's not it at all. So that's why this year for Christ Church, I've renamed it the Giving Campaign, because I want people to give from their hearts to Christ Church. Now let me just briefly say what pledging is not. Pledging is not a commitment that must be followed or we will report you to a collection agency. It is not that. It is an estimate to the best of your ability of the amount of money that you think you can give to the church that year.
So my name is Jeffrey Paulette. I've been a member of Christ Church for 10 to 12 years now, and from ushering to being on the outreach committee to actually raising my family here. That's kind of really my involvement in the church. I've seen Christ Church impact the community in many different ways. Specifically, one is Rare Breed, where my brother and I have actually volunteered there for the last 7 years with Christ Church, where we're actually helping prepare meals for kids who are homeless in the Springfield community. And then we're actually serving the kids as well. And we've actually created relationships with those kids as they're coming and going throughout Springfield. There's a transient kind of population here, and I've just seen such a change from starting out working there, volunteering there, how they were very reserved, would hardly even talk to us. And over the last 7 years now, the kids who have been there, they know us. They call us the twins. They're excited about us being there. They say that Christ Church provides the best food of any organization, so that's always a plus as well.
I love it because there's a lot of life in this congregation. There's a lot of love in this congregation, and I see that in all kinds of ways. I see that on Sundays with all the kids who are running around the parish hall enjoying themselves. I see it in our service, our community dinners, where we reach out to the homeless here in town, and we have 150 or more people who come and have a meal here with us, and we sit down at the table with them and talk with them and get to know them better and try to share the love of Jesus. So what I love about this church is that it's full of the love of Jesus Christ. We pledge because we believe in the work of this church, this institution, this divine institution. We give our very best to support the work of the church. And we do that because we believe in the work. We see the benefits of the work. We see the transformation that takes place in people through that work.